Welcome to True Tales from the Other Side. If you have a true encounter with the unexplained that you want to share, contact us through the email address below. Enjoy.
It was supposed to be a regular weekend. I was driving out to my cousin's place in a small town a couple of hours away, cutting through some back roads to avoid the interstate traffic. I'm always one for a scenic drive, and the weather was clear with just a hint of autumn chill in the air. I stopped for gas in a little town. Don't even remember the name. Just a cluster of buildings around a main street, the kind of place you'd only find if you got lost. The gas station was old and run down, with faded signs and a squeaky, rusted-out pump. I filled up, grabbed a Coke, and hit the road again, enjoying the view of rolling hills and trees just starting to turn. After about half an hour, I took a right onto a small, unmarked road that looked like it'd take me through a shortcut. I figured if I just headed east, I'd eventually meet back up with the main highway. But the further I drove, the stranger everything seemed. The road was eerily empty, no other cars in sight, and I started to notice how quiet it was, like even the birds had stopped chirping. The scenery began to change subtly. The road was clean, no potholes or cracks, almost like it had just been paved. And then the signs started looking odd too. I drove past a billboard advertising Pepsi Clear with a big, smiling photo of Cindy Crawford on it. At first, I didn't think much of it. Just some old, forgotten sign, maybe an antique collector's restoration project. But the further I went, the more things didn't quite add up. I passed a Radio Shack that looked new, like it hadn't been closed for years like all the others I'd seen. Then a Blockbuster Video with posters for Terminator 2 and The Lion King in the windows. And I slowed down, feeling a knot form in my stomach. I decided to pull over and take a better look at this little town. The street had this weirdly vibrant, lived-in feel. Everyone looked a little too fresh, a little too clean-cut. It was like stepping onto the set of an old TV show. People were walking around in high-waisted jeans and those oversized sweaters I hadn't seen since childhood, and there were kids riding around on BMX bikes, sporting slap bracelets on their wrists. Even the cars parked along the road were the boxy, colorful sedans and minivans from a few decades back. I decided to get out and ask someone for directions, so I pulled up next to this old barber shop and stepped out of my car. A man in his 40s, wearing a jean jacket with patches on it, gave me a quick nod as he walked past. "Excuse me," I said, a bit too quickly. "Can you tell me where the highway is from here?" The guy looked at me like I'd just asked him how to get to the moon. "You're a little lost, aren't you?" he chuckled, giving my car a once-over. "That's quite the car you've got there." I was a little thrown, but before I could respond, he pointed down the road. "Take a left at the light up there, then follow the signs. Should get you back to the main road." I thanked him, and he gave me another look, almost amused. As he walked off, I noticed the sign outside the barber shop had 1992 painted in big, bold letters under the name. 1992? I figured it had to be the year they opened, but everything about this town felt new, untouched by time, almost. I kept walking, looking around, feeling this strange sensation like I was the one out of place. I passed a storefront window and caught my reflection. Next to the people around me, I looked like I was from another planet in my modern clothes, my smartphone in hand. That's when I noticed nobody else had a phone. People were just talking, not a screen in sight. I felt a creeping sense of unease, a sense that something wasn't right, that I was seeing something I shouldn't be seeing. Deciding to test things out, I stopped at a payphone on the corner. It actually worked. When was the last time I'd even seen a working payphone? I pulled a couple of quarters from my pocket, dropped them in, and dialed my cousin's number. It rang once, twice, and then I heard a voice. "Hello. Hey, Mike, it's me," I said, almost sighing in relief. I got a little lost. I'm in some small town with a Blockbuster Radio Shack, and, a lot of people look like they just walked off the set of a 90s movie. You know where that might be?" There was a long pause, and then he chuckled. "Very funny? Why would you call me on a payphone, though?" "Yeah, my phone's acting up," I lied, suddenly realizing this wasn't going to make much sense. "But I'm serious. You ever heard of anything like that?" "Nah, dude, you've got to get here before dark. GPS that or whatever you need to do," he said, laughing again like he thought I was messing with him. "Yeah, sure," I said, hanging up, more confused than ever. I started to head back to my car, hoping to shake off this bizarre feeling, but something stopped me. A girl was staring at me, a teenager, probably. She was wearing those scrunchy socks and had a Walkman clipped to her jeans. She looked at me, really looked at me, almost like she knew. "Nice phone," she said, nodding toward the smartphone still in my hand. Her tone was friendly, but her eyes, they seemed to be calculating, like she knew I was out of place. "Yeah, thanks," I replied, slipping it into my pocket, feeling self-conscious. "Do you know if there's a way to get to, Nashville from here?" "Oh, that's a few hours from here," she said, smiling, and then added, "It's funny, though. You're dressed, like, way ahead of your time." I laughed awkwardly, then forced a smile. "Yeah, I'm, visiting from a ways away." She nodded, not breaking eye contact. "You should probably get going soon, though. Sometimes people have a hard time getting back. You know?" I felt a chill go down my spine, but I nodded, trying to keep my cool. I thanked her and practically jogged back to my car. I didn't even look back as I got in, started the engine, and hit the gas. I kept driving, following the guy's directions, and before long, I was back on the main road. But as soon as I pulled out, it felt like something had shifted. The air felt heavier, and suddenly my GPS flickered back on. I looked at the map, half expecting it to tell me I was in 1992 or something, but it just showed my regular location, like nothing had happened. I pulled over on the side of the road, took a few deep breaths, and glanced back in my rearview mirror. There was nothing there, no small town, no signs, just an empty stretch of road. I don't know what happened, but I'll tell you this. I haven't taken a back road since.
Thanks for listening. Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next set of tales from the other side. Submit your story to the email below. And remember, nothing is what it seems.